Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Red Valkyrie Presents. I'm, of course, Shae the Red with my awesome co-host, Cyborg Valkyrie. How are you doing?
Awesome. How are you today?
Good. A little blue, but that's okay. We'll get past it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be okay, though.
I'll give you some cookies. You'll cheer right up.
Ooh, cookies. That
Yeah.
sounds lovely.
I will share my soft patch with you.
Oh, okay, deal. So we are here with Scott. How are you doing, Scott?
Good. Glad to be here. And was that a little foreshadowing?
Maybe. You don't know. You'll find out.
We'll find out. All right.
We'll see. You know, let's just see now. Let's just do this. You
Oh
ready,
God.
Sai?
No, I
know.
wasn't.
Sai was so not ready.
I was ill prepared.
Emotional damage.
Metamorphosis completed, sir.
Shae the Red
Has now become
awesome.
Fantastic.
I did a gender bend on your main character because, you know.
I love how your camera goes to shit the second you turn it on.
Right? It's like, oh gosh.
Can you flail at it or something?
I don't think that it's going to come
You are
on.
so out of...
Nope.
I can see the scar work though. That looks great.
Thank you. Yeah,
look at that.
I tried. It's all over.
The funny thing is I actually have the official t-shirt.
Oh,
that he
nice.
wears. So yeah, we sold those for a little bit back in the day, but you know, maybe there's something we'll revisit again later. But
yeah, I love those kind of deep cut t-shirts and stuff where it's like you don't really necessarily know where it's from unless you've read the book, but if you read the book you're like, oh dude, yes. So we are here because you have chapter 4 of Wrath, which is nuts. Like it feels like it's been a while since I talked to you, but like 4 books is pretty impressive.
Yeah, you know, it's something, you know, you just keep driving and one step at a time, and it seems like you just started one yesterday, and 3 years have gone by, and you're on your 4th. So
absolutely,
it's just one of those. It's the journey, and you don't really realize how far you've gone until you look behind you.
Very true. Well, so why don't you give, because I can tell you right now, I already know a bunch of our viewers probably haven't seen this hit their timelines anywhere. And so they're totally unfamiliar with the story from like the beginning. So why don't you give us a little bit of background on the story and the characters, and then we can get into specifically like book 4, what's going on.
Sure, and anyone that wants to catch up and sample Wrath before backing, we have the first 3 chapters free to read on Global Comics during the campaign.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely, you can try it before you back. We just wanted to make this as accessible to newer returning backers as we can. But yes, we can start at the beginning. The beginning starts with a young man named Doug and his best friend Nicole, and they're kind of discussing their future. They're fresh out of high school, starting community college, and it just kind of comes up that, you know, casually that, you know, Doug's father, you know, was kind of a negative influence on him, and he kind of starts thinking about it and puts him in a sour mood, so he decides to leave because he was over at Nicole's house studying. He decides to call it a night, and so he starts heading home and reliving some of those memories of his father and the abuse that was going on in his family at the time.
Yeah.
And he decides to take an ill-advised shortcut that he doesn't normally do. And as he's kind of riding through these dark trees, 2 figures step out and confront him and decide to steal his bike. And as they're beating him up, he's kind of reliving some of those old memories. He ends up walking home in shame and, you know, dismissive to his parents, and just kind of passes out as he kind of relives his recent trauma and his old trauma in his head. And after he goes to sleep, we get a glimpse of what Doug is capable of in this creature that kind of comes out of him and goes and hunts down the two guys that stole his bike and gets a little revenge on them. And Doug just wakes up the next morning and he just has some, physical evidence and some dreamlike memories of what happened that night. And he starts to piece it together and starts to realize that something serious is going on. And he confides in his best friend, Nicole, like, I think there's something going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And chapter 2 is them exploring that and kind of getting a grasp on what Doug can do with his powers. And then 3 kind of takes us into this serious matter that's been happening around them this whole time, and they had no clue. And it's linked to Doug's ability and someone else who has that same ability. And Doug manages to escape temporarily, and they manage to secure this book. And that takes us into chapter 4. What's in the book?
Interesting. So you've got 1 through 3. I haven't sat down and read them, but I have gone through kind of some of the panels to get an idea of a loose idea of what's going on, at least, right? And it centers so much around these two for the first 3 books. Like they're your main players for sure. And then you've got this little teaser down here of this like punk chick in book 4. So can you tell us a little more about her, or is she like super secret you just gotta read?
Absolutely. So you do see at the end of 3, they do run into someone else with these powers, and they, like I said, they get this book. The book turns out to be a diary or journal belonging to this young woman. And chapter 4 is basically them discovering who this person is and their motivations, and how this person is very similar to Doug with his past.
Very cool. I also really wanted to point out, I love what you've done with the covers, right? So you got 1, 2, and 3 right here, where you've done this cool, like, kind of minimalist background cover with these shapes that kind of form around that relate to the story. And I love what you have for 4 up here with like the pages of her diary kind of floating off into the sky and everything. It makes like the graphic designer in me really happy, because it looks so crisp and clean, but it's also really eye-catching, and it makes me want to know more.
Yeah, and that's been my standard cover artist from the beginning, Drew Smith's work. We both kind of have this love for manga and comics, and so she kind of presented me with this minimalist cover, which is similar to one of my favorite series. Bleach does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she also likes Soul Eater, that does the same thing. And so
Yes.
we took inspiration from that, and we wanted it to, stand out and kind of have a uniform look. And she's basically come up with all of these concepts on herself, and she just seems to be getting better with every single one of them.
Uh-oh. Was it me?
What?
The audio cut for a second.
No, that was you.
Am I still here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
That was my bad. Oh, my internet is so I pay way too much to have this shitty internet. This is so annoying.
That is frustrating.
Yeah, no, I do really like it. And I didn't think of the manga angle, but now that you've said that makes a lot of sense to me, because these do have that kind of iconic, like Bleach-esque kind of look to them, where you're still getting like a full scene, but you're not getting like all of the background filler, which kind of really keeps the focus specifically on like what's going on in this story. I think that's awesome. And then you have the B variant, from B. Navarro, correct?
Yes, and that's something we've done with all of our campaigns to date. Is we always have a campaign exclusive variant. So yeah, we got Bay Navarro to do this one,
Nice.
and color it. This was kind of a test run to working with her because she's going to be my colorist on another project I'm doing.
She's done some art for us.
Yeah, she's amazing.
We love B, and she's super. She's super quick and really good with direction. It's awesome. Oh, look at Mrs.
Yeah,
H with the puns.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's such a good pun. I know now I'm gonna whatever book I do, I'm gonna get a B variant cover. It'll be the second one for sure because that's hilarious. Yeah, we have a lot of cool people in the chat. I just want to say hey to you real quick. So we got Pale Rider hanging out. We got William Pace. What's up on Facebook? We appreciate you, sir. Don't forget to hit like over.
Don't skip this, which I highlighted at the beginning, which you didn't
Mama
see.
Smurf. That's okay. Yeah, we got Pale Rider. Y'all are loving it when I paint myself up a different color. It's hilarious. GK1, what's up? We got Mrs. H. How you doing, lovely? We still got to get together, ma'am. Definitely got to get together. She's like really close to me. We just found that out like a couple weeks ago, so we're gonna have to hang out for sure. Cool. So this one, and I don't want to sound discouraging at all, but this is something that I've noticed that has been a constant like thorn in your side when it comes to these comics, because I remember we had you on, I believe it was book 1. And I think that you had issues getting like the traction and enough kind of visibility on this. And now it's like, oh, you're sitting here 8 days left and $2,000, that sucks. Have you had like a lot of people reading it digitally online and things like that? Or did you get any feedback and stuff from people who got book 3? Because that one did fun, correct?
Yeah, that one. And then 2, I was looking at that, was probably our biggest one. And I think that was the one we did with you.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, we've got almost 4K views on Global Comics. I generally get some good, engagement on Twitter and things. I think what I need to do is I need to get better at reaching out to my old backers as well. Something I plan on doing this week.
Yeah,
pretty
that
hard.
would probably help. That would probably help for sure.
Yeah, so if you're an old backer, you might be getting some emails. Just heads up.
Well, that's the thing, is it's an interesting concept, and I like the art style because it is closer to manga. It is more simplistic, but not in a bad way. Like simplistic where it's really allowing the story to kind of drive the book instead of it being so overwhelming with art, and then you don't really get to see much else because you're so caught up in the art. Like the story just kind of becomes superfluous for you to see more. This is one of those really good marryings where you guys have this style that lets the story breathe a lot. And I love how you've done spot color throughout it, because I feel like that's really like the majority of it being grayscale until you hit the various powers, or maybe a particularly like gory scene or something, and there'll be like a splash of red everywhere. I think it's a really cool stylized book, and I really want to see this doing like gangbusters, because it seems so interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's something that I have to do better on my end. I need to market it better. But part of the thing is like, I wrote it to resonate with people, but it's hard to market to that. Like, have you had trauma before? It's not exactly like something you just throw into someone and say, oh, read my book. It's got to be a little bit more subtle and something I just got to try and get them to read first.
Right. Carrie is asking why I'm blue, because this guy's blue. Look at him right there. I did a gender bend on the main character. Yeah, and to go back to what you were saying as far as trying to market, I'm a person who also likes to write things that are kind of more emotional or a little bit more sensitive, and it is really hard to market that. In fact, the last Writing Pros episode that we just had, Eric brought up a really good point about having to ask a lot of your audience, like up front, in order for them to be on board with your story, because it's, hey, this is going to talk about trauma. This is going to talk about like not super great moments. But the interesting point of this is that this kid, this, young adult, is kind of taking his life back from that. And so it's not just sitting here as like some sort of torture fantasy thing where he's just constantly plagued by it and just reliving it over and over again. He definitely is trying to flip it on its head and take more control over his life now and realize that, what was in the past doesn't have to happen again.
Exactly what I was shooting for, and turning that something that you had no control over into something that you can use to drive you into taking control of something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that from what I've seen, and I already told Scott, so I don't want to hear anybody bitch at me in the chat. I already told Scott I haven't read it. I have flipped through it in order to, get ready for this stream. And really it does feel like it's a really kind of accessible story. Like it's not super preachy in one regard or super like traumatic and depressing in another. There's parts that will kind of break your heart. But I mean, it's not like a Lifetime movie kind of thing. It's not that bad.
And I'm glad to hear that. That's what I like to hear, because it was a fine line I was treading, and I feel like I did stay on it.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. Especially because it's you almost kind of do a shock and awe with it. Like, here's a horrible traumatic experience. Oh, look, you have these powers. Let's focus on those. And it's like, yeah, let's focus on the powers. I had that flashback again. It's like, no, we don't look at that though.
No.
Look ahead. Look forward.
That's the source of your powers. We're gonna leave that alone to fester for a little while.
Don't touch it. Just leave it.
We'll revisit that, but right now we're gonna have some fun before we drag you back down into the darkness.
Exactly. Like, hold up though. You can become a kitty. And he's like, well, what? Maybe. Look, I don't want to be a cat every time. That's weird.
No. Just keep pushing down your feelings of hate. And
it's fine. It fuels you. It's like the dark side. It's totally don't worry about it.
Just embrace it. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, a lot of people get thrown off with the scars, but we're going for like a wolf type creature. But a lot of people are like, is that a tiger? Yeah.
So it definitely doesn't look. Hold on, look at him. That's no tiger. That's no tiger. He's clearly some poor cut up pup.
Yeah. We affectionately call him the rage puppy.
Yes.
And but the official term for the creatures, we reveal that in chapter 3, is that they're called Steigans.
Yes, very cool. And I just gotta say, I really love the die cut magnet. I'm going to have to back, because I'm pretty sure that I missed out. I know that I got book 2, which means I probably got book 1 when I got book 2. I don't remember, so I'm probably just gonna get all 4 again. But I also really have to back, because I want the little puppy magnet. Look at how cute he is.
Yeah, that's
right here on my desk.
Yeah, that's Rosalind Summers' work. She did a great job on that. We actually have that same style for a lot of the Steigens and characters in there. We might show those off again later because they were a lot of fun. But yeah, going to your point there, like I said, we tried to make this one as accessible to returning or new readers. So we have backup tiers and add-ons where you can add any missed copies to any of the current Chapter 4 tiers.
Awesome. That is awesome. All right, so we have talked a bit about stretch goals. We want to get it funded. Let's get it to funded. Because we got 8 days left, and if we can get it to funded like super well, then look at that. You can get a Jack Irons print, which would be awesome. And you said so that's by the same person who did this adorableness, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's a
Awesome.
picture of Jack Irons walking down a path with the Rage Puppy next to him.
Very cool.
So yeah, well, if we get funded, we can show that off and push towards that goal. We also have, if we're talking about tiers, we have a donation tier. So I actually work as a clerk in the criminal justice system, and my department actually oversees the juvenile hall and the boys ranch in my county. And
wow.
So I have cut through all the red tape, and if you back the donation tier, you'll get the digital and both copies of Chapter 4, and then I'll donate 2 of each chapter to the youth that are being detained in my county.
Wow. That's interesting. I really like seeing the various kinds of donation tiers that people are doing, and that's one that a lot of people probably don't think about, but honestly, if the whole point is, helping to reform and keep kids from going down a bad path and everything, being able to read something where somebody does kind of stumble and falter a little and doesn't necessarily always choose the right path, but starts to find his own and grow as a human, that's probably a pretty good story for them to get their hands on.
And also, I believe that, comics as a medium, because some of the kids are struggling with literacy, it's a great motivator because you've got all that fantastic art and you want to know what's happening. So it's motivation to read. Absolutely.
That's really cool. I like that you have that. I haven't heard somebody have that as their donation tier yet. That's really neat. The other question I had for you. Oh, hello, Blue. Blue says, glad to see you're out here kicking butt, Scott.
Yeah, he's an old backer, and he just saw me on this one, and I was glad to see that he was still around.
We don't call them old; we call them stately. Or
stately. There you go, stately. Or how about this? One of the original backers,
seasoned.
Look at this. It's so weird hearing Shae's voice come from a gaunt brunette Smurfette. First off, this is black hair, buddy.
Gaunt. Maybe it's because of all the weight you've lost. Maybe it's a compliment.
I'm gonna take it as a compliment.
Yes.
And you know what? I don't care.
No.
Too late.
Now it's giant.
Gaunt. We're gonna go with gaunt. I did lose 46 pounds, so we'll say.
There you go.
Say that. So the other question I had for you.
Now come make me lose 46 pounds, goddamn.
Oh my gosh, I don't know that I can. You're
just bring all your injections.
So motivated to not move.
Oh, shut up. God, I hate you.
Anyway. I couldn't help it. Anyway. So one of the questions that I had for you, Scott, is, so you've been doing these crowdfundings on Kickstarter. Do you have any plans on going on Indiegogo?
I started on Indiegogo, actually. Mm-hmm. My first 2 were on Indiegogo. But I noticed that it seemed to be losing some steam. So I tried Kickstarter. But I do like a lot of the features on Indiegogo better. I like the way that it presents the tiers. I like the way they handle the money. I like the ability to extend. There's just a lot more flexibility. But I just kind of try to roll with the hot hand.
That's fair. And something that I know some people were really kind of hinky about, and I personally don't get why. There's nothing that says that you can't go from one to the other. You know what I mean? So if you try your Kickstarter, maybe you don't fund, maybe you do. Hey, cool. Maybe you hit funding. That's great. There's no reason you can't pop it over on an Indiegogo and do a quick 30-day. And then if you wanted to go in demand, if it was a good amount of time before you're going to fulfill, leaving it up and in demand means as more people are kind of talking about it, or, even if there's people who leave it up until their next project is about to go live, if they're already buying, in bulk. And the benefit of that is as people are reading the books and starting to enjoy it and talking about it more, people discover your campaign and then go back and back. So it's a thought. I don't know. Obviously, there's a lot that goes into it, because running a campaign, you can't just set it and forget it. You do have to do stuff.
Yeah, you do have to tend the garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I did try that in reverse when I did an Indiegogo and then tried to do the Kickstarter. And yeah, I did not put as much effort into it, and it just kind of fell flat. So,
well, and Blue Samurai's got a good idea. If you have to have your Kickstarter would have to fund, but then you can port those funds over to Indiegogo and open an in-demand store. It will take a different percentage from you, so you need to kind of pay attention to that.
Yeah, it's either 2 or 3% more. I can't remember which off the top of my head.
But
that's
it's
definitely
it's
looking into. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if we can get you funded, that'd be awesome. All right. Let's go over what your tiers are so people know how they can back you.
Yeah, they had that nice little diagram you had up earlier. If you wanted to go that way.
Oh, there it is. I like it. It's very like, look, for $5 you get the PDF. For $10 you get the PDF and the physical. That is incredibly cheap, sir. Holy shit. Yeah, that is. How many pages is this?
It's about, I want to say 28 pages is what we're shooting for. It might be a little bit more. We'll see.
Okay. 28 pages, $10. That's okay. All right. And then you've got your digital catch-up tier for anyone who wants to just get all of the books, but maybe not have the physical, or if you want to have them on the go.
Yeah, and that'll be about over 120 pages of story.
Damn. That's crazy. Sigh, you're ridiculous.
It was a joke.
All right,
I think you would have given my artist a heart attack.
Right? Your artist is like, hold up, my rates just went up. Like that's a lot.
That's what we like to call job security, something very few artists have.
This is true.
This is true.
GK1 says, I'll be honest, I'm not very smart, and Kickstarter confuses me.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, let us know in the chat what about Kickstarter is confusing to you. Because we are well versed in both. I think I have 400 backings on Indiegogo. I have 70 something backings on Kickstarter. So let us know what is kind of hanging you up on Kickstarter.
Shae, do you mind?
Go.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say there are 3 main differences from a backer's perspective: Kickstarter versus Indiegogo. Difference number 1, and probably, well, no, they're all equally important. Difference number 1, there's no such thing as a flex goal. So you either make your funding or that's it. It's canceled. Difference number 2, your backing doesn't come out until after the campaign ends.
Yep.
So if you back for $100, you better keep that $100 in your account until the countdown timer on the campaign reaches 0.
Yeah, don't forget, because I forget all the time, and then I'm like, we're having ramen for 2 weeks. Shit.
Issue
Like,
them
it's
or
so good.
yeah, especially when it's a lump of campaigns that all end at the same time.
Okay, Siri, can we just, for 1 second, I just got to gripe. All y'all with Kickstarters that just ended in the past 2 weeks, I love you, and also fuck you, because holy shit, that was a lot of money.
By the way,
just...
Shae, between now and say October 10th, cancel any Kickstarter backings you currently have that are going to end between now and October 10th.
No.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
I want to eat.
We'll be able to eat.
Okay.
We have a credit card.
You can't share cookies if you can't buy cookies.
That's true. And the third difference, I think, at least based on what Shae has told me, because she's a super backer on Kickstarter. Kickstarter tends to use what is it, Backer Kit?
Backer Kit, yes.
Yeah, the surveys a lot more than the people on Indiegogo tend to. So you have to watch your email like a fucking hawk when the campaigns end to make sure that your fulfillment goes smoothly.
I've actually backed somebody, I missed the Backer Kit email, and I was like, nothing on my stuff has changed, so it should be fine. And I realized 3 months later that I had never gotten it. And I reached out to the person, and I was like, did this get lost in shipment? And he was like, you never responded to Backer Kit. And I was like, what the fuck? Seriously? And he's like,
okay.
Yeah.
And here's something to creators, all right? If you have someone like Shae, okay, let's just well, no, we'll make it someone nameless. Someone nameless who shall not be named Shae. So they have 400 fucking backings on Indiegogo, a shit ton over on Kickstarter, right? Very, very active in the scene. Or even just random Joe Bob number 4. You've got a fucking email address. When the campaign ends and you don't get a response in the survey, how about you reach out?
Well, and to be fair,
don't make excuses.
No, I'm going to. This is the whole fairness. I'm going to say this. I don't think the person is somebody who watches our channel, so I don't think that they necessarily know that we do this or how much I back. That being said, there was one email.
That's my point.
That is ridiculous. Like, if you haven't heard, you got to follow up with your people, because when we finally sent it to me again, and I went and checked, and I was like, I dropped $60 on this shit. What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
It's $60 you email me once to get my reward, and then I don't get it for 3 months.
And you don't even know if it went to fucking spam the first time with the survey link.
That is true. Yeah. Because I literally couldn't find it.
The best way to do that is keep updating and put out that, hey, reminder, we need those surveys to get you your stuff.
Yeah, because then the updates on the campaign, you'll get an email notification that the creators put one there. So anyway, that's just my gripe, because I've seen that happen a few times with Shae, and it's like, she does not drop a small sum of money on these campaigns. I don't think I've ever seen her back the minimum amount, unless she's backing the minimum amount on top of some egregiously high amount because she wants a second copy of the book for me. So, I mean,
I normally back whatever tier I want, and then if there's a bunch of stuff that I know Sai's not going to care about, then I always throw on at least another book. So we both have physical copies. It's gonna be great. When you move in, we're gonna have to have a fucking comic book fire sale or something.
You're gonna have.
Let's go.
It's gonna be like hers and theirs, and then shared
extras that Shae forgot that she backed, because that happens a lot too.
I think the most I've seen you get is 4 copies of the same book.
5, but yeah.
Close enough.
Wow. I do have an extra copy add-on.
I am seeing that.
It's appreciated.
Yes.
But I did have a similar, slightly different story, but in my first campaign, I actually had one of the comics come back as a return to sender. And like Cyborg was saying, I had the email, so I tracked him down and said, "Hey, this got sent back to me. Did you move?" And I got the new address, and I got that off to him.
Right.
I told you. Shae brought up before the stream that she looked like Blue Man Group, and I told her to start drumming.
Blue Man Group with some trauma.
Yeah. Little.
Well, you know, they keep
Wish
pouring the
aware
liquid on
Blue
their
Man.
drums and smacking it.
It's eventually going to catch up with you.
They lost some drumsticks. There was blood.
Terrible. All right. So, you know what's one thing that I am noticing, Scott, that is a slight bummer? There is not an add-on for the donation.
Yeah, I've looked at that, and I figured if you wanted the donation, you would get the donation and then use the add-ons to build on top of that.
Yep, that is a possibility, I suppose.
That way I didn't clutter up, because I was already starting to like, man, this add-on tier or section is starting to get cluttered.
Yeah. All right. So what else do we have? Let's see.
They're not greasy. They're wet. I saw them live. It's just moist.
I think that a lot of that is sweat, to be fair.
I think that they use some really hellacious fucking makeup to make sure that there's no like white bleed through anywhere. Yeah. And just looking at you.
This is super, super quick too.
They have like if they use that makeup, it'd be like 7 layers of that makeup and then some sealant on top.
Makeup. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to use this makeup. It's water. It's
yeah,
water
exactly.
based. So the second they started hitting drums with water, they would start losing their everything. Okay. Wait, we know way too much about this. All right, so for $25, you can get both covers as well as the PDF, which is nice. $35 was the catch-up bundle, which, you know, I would recommend if you haven't already backed on that, or if you want to do a donation, that's another great one, is doing the donation tier, and then you can add on the back issues.
And yeah, one of the things I've always done with my campaigns, if you get the physical, you're going to get the digital for free.
I love that. I love when creators do that. That's exactly what I would hope would happen. You know what I mean? Because it's always a pain when you're like, well, so I spent all this on the physical, and now I got to spend another $5 for the digital that I hope that I read, but I may not. It's nice to have it and not need it than to need it and be like, oh, well, I guess I'm not reading this book then.
Yeah, and you know, it's something that I try to give as much value to my tiers as possible too.
That's awesome. And then you have a cameo. So explain the cameo a little bit, because everybody does cameos slightly differently. So is it just the one appearance? Is it just in one panel? Is it a speaking part, non-speaking, all that?
Yeah, we have the non-speaking, single panel. It's been sprinkled through all of our issues.
Okay.
So it's just kind of continuing on that same tradition.
Very cool. So you will appear in the background. You can point and say, "There I am."
Oh, what's interesting is on chapter 3, because I work in the probation department. One of the POs actually backed that, so I got him standing in the background with his name tape and everything.
Oh wow, that's actually kind of cool.
By the way, there's a fight going on in the.
I see this. We mentioned backer kit, and now, oh my, there's so much going on.
Oh,
well, I was gonna say you even got that. GK is like, I just lie on surveys.
I don't respond to surveys.
You have to, or you don't get stuff.
I just consider them like questions from pollsters.
Terrible. All right. How many books are you hoping to have in Wrath?
So we are looking at a 6 issue graphic novel is what the whole project is aiming for. So we're trying to get our first bite of that second half. But yeah, we were shooting from the beginning with a close to 200-page graphic novel. We just broke it down into pieces because it's very hard to get people to back a comic, let alone a 10 grand graphic novel when nobody knows who you are.
That is true. That is true. Well, hopefully we've gotten a little bit more eyes on, and some of y'all might consider actually backing this. And before we leave, we'll make sure to play the trailer just to entice you that much further. But before we move on, is there any other bits that you want to let everyone know about this campaign, Scott?
Just again, because we mentioned this in the beginning, but we've got more people here. You can actually go check this out for free. The first 3 chapters are free to read while the campaign is running over on Global Comics. There is a link in the Kickstarter page that'll take you right to it. And yeah, thanks for support and taking the time to read my project.
Absolutely. Sai, do you have any last little bits besides highlighting Gordon's incredibly disturbing voter survey?
That just wiped out anything I wanted to say.
Blue Samurai says, I told you not to tell everyone, Dad.
Oh my God.
Wow, I love our chat. Our chat is insane.
Indeed. So we
it's
do
not
have
good
the
unless
trailer.
you're having fun, right?
You know that they're having fun around here because that's what's going on in the chat. So
I can taste vomit.
Oh, stop. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thank you, Scott, for coming on and sharing your project with us. This definitely is something that I'm looking forward to. And if it doesn't fund this time through, I really hope that I see it come back around.
Oh, definitely. I've had my trips and stumbles. I know how to get back up.
Fantastic. I do appreciate that. Blue Samurai says, Scott, if I don't back you this weekend, I'll get you covered by next weekend. Depends on how this weekend's side gigging goes. Keep in mind, he's got 8 days left, Blue. 8 days. So.
But I do appreciate it.
Yeah, just make sure it's by this time on Sunday.
Yes.
Hopefully before.
Yes. Yeah, look at him. 8 days. Shit. Yeah. Get that side hustle going strong this weekend.
Yeah, no free samples. Just skip straight to charging them.
Terrible. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to Valkyrie. Go check out Wrath number 4 over on Kickstarter, and please consider giving it a backing because I feel like Scott's got something pretty cool here, and it'd be great to see it continue on. And we will let you guys go out with the trailer. Yes. See you later.
They say time heals all wounds, but they never mention the scars it leaves. No matter how hard I try, the past seems to linger just below the surface. Waiting for something to pull it to the surface. Deep down, I'm terrified of what may happen if I lose control again.